Dakota Ditcheva dominated Taila Santos. Your reaction to that goes, and what's Ditcheva's potential? And please check me if you think I got way ahead of myself on Saturday when I actually thought she might be the best flyweight in the world.
I don't know what got into you, George. Look, I thought she had a tremendous performance. You know, this is the toughest one yet. She didn't disappoint. She's very well rounded. She's mentally tough, right? All that time at ATT, I'm sure she's seen a lot of things. We're gonna watch this improvement, and it's gonna happen gradually. And there's obviously tons of potential, George. I get it. You know, having somebody like Joanna Jędrzejczyk, right, that has a similar style, I'm sure she's learning a lot. Taila Santos is a good fighter, but I wouldn't say she's a great fighter. I think we still need to kind of, I don't know that we could say we have like a lot of questions about Dakota. We just need to see if she has consistency, because you look at some of the other girls that would be ranked around her and they would give her one hell of a fight, right? So I think maybe we have to, I hate to say it because, you know, she was so phenomenal and she gets so much of this, but if we're going to call her the best in the world, we got to pump the brakes there. If we're saying she's elite and she deserves to be up towards the top, yes, I absolutely agree with that.
Dude, are you seeing this B-roll? Look at that shot to the body, man. I mean, she fought almost a perfect fight. She's had almost a perfect season, and she whacked someone that took Valentina Shevchenko to a split decision a few years ago. I have settled down since Saturday. I might have gotten ahead of myself, but man, I'm telling you, this chick might be the best flyweight in the world. I shouldn't call her a chick. This young lady. Matt Wells, am I high? Am I tripping?
No, I mean, best in the world is a stretch, but she's definitely in that conversation now, and among the top 5, because she just took out the number 5 that we have in our women's flyweight rankings at MMA Junkie, right? So she's definitely up there. Again, it just comes down to like what Mike Bond has been harping on, you know, with his card and the PFL in general, is like, okay, what do you do with her now, right? Who can test her next? I mean, yes, there's some names out there. There was some criticism coming into this season, this PFL season, about the matchups and where they, you know, positioning her to avoid certain people and things like that, right? So there are some matchups still out there, but man, to your question, yes, she absolutely looks like it. When you know, we talk about like the eye test, right? She passes the eye test, I think, like with flying colors. I mean, the striking is incredible. We saw the takedown defense shine here against Santos. I mean, she's just explosive. She's aggressive. She's accurate with her strikes. Like, she's very efficient with her movement. There's a lot to like when you just look at what she does inside the cage, man. She's phenomenal. I'm not ready to call her quite the best in the world yet, because you still got Valentina Shevchenko, you still got Alexa Grasso, you got Manon out there. How would she do against those names? Those are big questions. Erin Blanchfield as well. I mean, some very talented women in the flyweight division, but she's definitely in that conversation now.
Matt, I'm gonna corner you here, like I did goes. I'm gonna see if I can go 2 for 2. If a millionaire had a briefcase with $1 million and he goes, pick the winner, and you get to keep the money, and it's Ditcheva versus Grasso, who would you take?
Whew. Oh,
you don't lose anything, but you get the $1 million if you pick the right winner.
I mean, I would have to choose Grasso. I would have to choose Grasso.
Oh,
but we're talking about, you know, splitting hairs, I think, at this point, but I'm giving respect to Grasso and her strength of schedule and the biggest stages that she's been on so far. So I'm giving respect to Grasso for all of that and what she's done so far. I mean, you know, you got to give props to Ditcheva, man. She's fantastic, but she hasn't put in that same level of work as Alexa Grasso.
Beats Grasso and Namajunas. I think she might have trouble with Blanchfield and Manon Fiorot and Valentina. That's why I said I've settled down since Saturday. But some people are telling me that I'm high in the chat, so I'm pushing back. Mike, what about that? The $1 million challenge. You get to keep this briefcase, pal. You just got to pick the winner of Grasso versus Ditcheva. What do you tell that millionaire?
I might pick Ditcheva, honestly. I think
that's what's up, Mike Bond.
Yeah, she's really good, man. I mean, like, especially that matchup in particular, she'd be a lot bigger than Alexa. I think she'd have the length, the height. Obviously, Alexa's boxing is really good, but Ditcheva's kick game, she seems to know the distance really well in these fights. Yeah, I could not have been more impressed with what she did out there. Yeah, she had it all, honestly. Like, yeah, we didn't see her spend significant amount of time on her back, like fending off submissions or anything, but that's because she was a brick wall out there and she couldn't really be taken down. She even kind of reversed Santos at one point in that first round. So yeah, like she ticked all the boxes that you would want to see from her in this fight. How does that work fighting the best girls over and over and over again? Would I say she would beat them all? I don't know. Like, it's hard for anyone to do that these days, to just run through a division. These people are all getting pretty damn good. But yeah, like, how could you not be happy with this if you're her team? PFL, she's their youngest season winner ever at like 26 years old and change. So that's like a huge thing for them. This isn't even her peak or her prime right now, but yeah, man, she's everything she said she was going to be. Like, I think when she talked to Nolan King ahead of this fight, she basically predicted a second round finish, said, I'm going to make this look like I did all the other fights. And she went out and did that to Santos, who just seemed completely lost out there after she wasn't able to get the first takedown and was getting hit with big strikes. So yeah, man, this was like an A++, a breakthrough performance. And she is, I think, PFL's like number one person you're circling right now, trying to push and hold on to. I know we're talking about UFC crossovers here, but look how hard it was for Kayla Harrison to get out of there and get over to the UFC. I think if you're Dawn Davis, Pete Murray, all those people over there, you're doing everything in your power to keep her with PFL as long as humanly possible. And I think that's going to be the case for at least the next couple of years here.
Yeah, I'm glad Dawn Davis isn't on the panel, though, because he doesn't know anybody else outside the PFL, so he couldn't make the comparisons. What were you going to say, Matt Wells?
I want to modify my answer a little bit, okay? Because the chat is going crazy. You know, they're saying Dakota would get smoked by Grasso.
Really?
If UFC 306 Grasso shows up, Dakota wins. If UFC 285 Grasso shows up, Grasso wins.
Okay. I feel that George actually won me over. I did say I would take her over Grasso, but $1 million doesn't go as long as you think it does, Georgie. You better save that money, because if we bring that briefcase out for a couple other fighters that we were talking about, I don't think you go that way.
Well, I named them. I know she's got some tough matchups up there. I think she beats Barber, Namajunas. I think she beats look, Santos. Part of why I think Dakota Ditcheva is actually a really burgeoning star here. I thought Santos showed up in great shape. She looked strong and lean, and she was trying using technique and power to get her to the ground, and she couldn't do it. And that's where I was like, holy cow, Ditcheva is even better than I thought. She's learning. She's just getting better. I think Santos is one of the top 5 flyweights in the world, honestly, and she really did show up in good shape. But man, Ditcheva just impressed me. I mean, Cole Covey just showed us about 8 or 9 solid techniques: the punch to the body, the knee to the body, the elbows, whether they were landing or not, the up elbows, leg kicks. How about that one when she went straight to the grill, a la Anderson Silva and Vitor Belfort? Like I say, she knows how to use her range. She's a killer, dude. And I don't know what the PFL is going to do. If they throw in her season, I guess she's just going to mop them up too. And if she just waits for one fight, who's that fight going to be? I suppose technically, Mike, is Liz Carmouche still the Bellator flyweight champion? She didn't bring the belt over, right? So they could do the series there that they're doing or whatever.
Yep, they could do that. I would assume that would be the next move here. If you're trying to build Dakota's resume with as many former UFC title challengers and things like that as possible, obviously a Bellator champion. So yeah, I hope they do that fight next. And especially after seeing this, we know what Liz Carmouche's game is for most of her fights. And if Ditcheva can fend her off like she did Santos, that's might be a very rough night for Liz.
With the retirement fight for Liz. Would the PFL be crazy enough to do Ditcheva versus Cyborg? I know it's 2 weight classes, and is that just a whole other animal?
You keep those two as far away from each other as you possibly can.
Because in a way, we're entertaining Pereira versus Jones. One was once a middleweight, the other one's now a current heavyweight. They're both probably more light heavyweights.
And Cyborg's talking about fighting Clarissa Shields at like 175. So let's maybe throw that idea out the window for now.
One more Dakota comment like that, George, and George Pirro is going to knock on our door. We're going to have you tested because you might be high at that point. I think there's no way they do that. No way.
No.
But you guys agree that she beats Liz, right? Carmouche?
Probably. I mean, again, We don't know about the ground game prolonged. Like, you know, if Liz can actually get her down and hold her there, maybe. Like, we don't know. But that first layer of takedown defense seems like it's going to be pretty tough to get through. What comes after that, I don't know. Still untested.
In 3 seconds, a shoe is going to hit Mike Bond in the head. It's going to be his fiance going, "You're giving away $1 million. We're getting married. We could pay for the wedding, the house. Stop it, Mike. You know this is that fight."
Jack table with Dana White, and I'll be paid for it. You know.
That's right. There are some people that take that cash. All right. Well, listen. I think she's great. I'll go back and circle in and see what the comments look like. Tell me what you guys think of Ditcheva's potential. Can she beat the stars over in the UFC? I think she can. Santos came up a little bit short, but was she one of the better pickup skills for free agency for the PFL?
I mean, I think she served her purpose, right? I don't know what you really do with her going forward. There's still a lot of questions. Her value was in putting Ditcheva over, right? And that happened. So now what do you do with her? I don't know. I think if she would have been more competitive in the fight, you could maybe sell a rematch down the road, but that didn't really happen. And she's only getting older. So it was a good pickup for what it was used for. But at this point, I don't know really what the value is.
Pettis, Stevens, McDonald, Verdum, you know, I think she might have been the best one for serving a purpose and, you know, almost getting the millie there.